Anyone?
Verilog, sir.
Verilog. Why? Any reason? Any this thing from your point of view?
Sir, it's easier because of syntax is very less and no library functions.
No, okay. Syntax is say pretty simple. What you want to specify compared to VHDL. Okay.
Yes.
Any other thing? Any other thing?
The-
So if you just observe one instruction input, you are declaring it in a very simple form. Input 1:0.
Yes, sir.
As here,
Yes, sir.
using the name, you are specifying input. You are specifying like standard logic vector 3 down to 0 or 1 down to 0. So these are syntax as per you specified. The syntax is say pretty simple.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is why Verilog came into existence. So it was previously VHDL. So wherein we used to code, we have done VHDL coding. So wherein we used to write the code in this form. We used to write, say, libraries which all are required. Then we used to declare the entities, then the input and output codes, and then write the say logic which was required. So in this one, you should know what you are using. You should know what you are using. So here we have specified standard logic vector. We should know how many this thing is there, or what type of data it will be. So those all things have to be known. So what happens is this guy gives rise to another parameter. So syntax is one thing. Now here what happens is bin and hout in VHDL. If you just observe, their type is known well before. It is known during the compile time. The data type of the variable is known during the compile time in VHDL. Whereas the data type of in Verilog, right? Say this data type will be known only during the runtime. The data type of a variable in VHDL is known only during the it is known during the compile time, whereas in Verilog, right, it is known only during the runtime. So because of this, again, you have some pros and cons. So here, what I want to specify is HDL is strongly typed. We specify such kind of languages as strongly typed, whereas Verilog is weakly typed. So that is what is meant by typed this thing. So this is strongly typed. This is weakly typed. Verilog is weakly typed. So what does strongly typed imply? Data type is known during the compile time. But weakly typed implies data type is known only during the runtime. So because of that, you might again face some challenges when you're doing such kind of coding. And if you just see here, it is more verbose. So everything you're trying to specify, whereas you're just specifying it in a simple form. This is less verbose. That is what we specify. Okay. So these are just a few things with the respect to Verilog and VHDL. And don't worry about VHDL presently because we'll be looking forward for Verilog coding. Okay. So just a few other distinct comparisons of Verilog and VHDL. So user-defined data types are available in VHDL, whereas it is not available in Verilog. Multi-dimensional arrays. So more than say if you're writing rows and columns, rows, columns, and some additional, if you take, say 3-dimensional, if you take, here we can make use of such multi-dimensional arrays, but here we cannot use it. So library packages, as we specified, we use library packages in VHDL, but in this case, we are not having any library packages what we are specifying. So if you just see from ease of learning point of view, VHDL is slightly difficult. I'll not tell it is entirely impossible. Slightly difficult because the syntax is different. So because of which we have to remember everything. And if you miss out anything during compile time, we'll get to know. But this one, what happens is only during runtime, I might get to know that, okay, this output should be defined in this form. something. So those all things have to be checked out. This is a little bit easy to go ahead. Then say predefined unary operators. In this VHDL I don't have unary operators, whereas in this case I have unary operators. So later I'll just come across what is meant by unary, binary and ternary operator. So these are just a few things what we have. So this one we'll discuss later because we have one separate module only for this purpose. So this is this discussion will have it in the coming forth classes. So these are just a few differences, say code comparisons and this thing what we have. So slight difference between these two. So today I'll wind up after this point. What are the different levels of description, or sometimes we call it as levels of abstraction. So at what level of abstraction you are specifying. So that we'll just mention, and in next classes we'll cover up these things as it is required even in your programming aspect in your lab. So we'll be discussing this part. Now here the components of the target design can be described at different levels. Now in what way you are specifying that tells you the level of abstraction also. It is not only the description, you are specifying the level of abstraction also in this case. And how it can be done? It can be done with the help of the constructs which are available in Verilog. Constructs we'll come to know later what are the different constructs which are present. Just few things we'll be discussing over there. So in Verilog HDL, a module can be defined using various levels of abstraction. That is what we are specifying over here. So in previous slide, so this is one level of abstraction in which we have mentioned it. So what are the different levels of abstractions and how it is different from the different levels of abstraction? That is what we will be looking out for. So in this one, we have something called as circuit level, or sometimes even it is called as switch level. Okay. Which is very rarely used in Verilog or VHDL. It is very rarely used. Then we have gate level. So this is the first point where you can start off. Then we have something called as data flow, and last one, the highest level is behavioral model. Generally, circuit level is very rarely used, but these three are regularly used in the HDL languages. Okay. So in next class, we'll continue with the discussion. So I'll wind up the class at this moment. Okay. So any query from your end?